It might surprise you to know that the one thing you've spent your whole life depending on isn't actually there for you when it matters most. It's a quiet truth that catches many older adults by surprise. You reach your 60s and assume your children, spouse, or siblings will be your rock, your backup plan, your support system. But what happens when they're too far away, too busy, emotionally distant, or simply unable to provide the care, comfort, or connection you need? According to a 2023 survey from the National Institute on Aging, over 41% of adults aged 60 and above report feeling emotionally unsupported by their families. That's nearly half of all older adults navigating retirement, health changes, and grief without the support they expected to have. And for many, this disconnect becomes even more painful during times of illness, loss, or transition, when the silence from loved ones is loudest. Here's the deeper problem. Society still tells us that family is everything. But in reality, that expectation can leave many seniors feeling abandoned, ashamed, or invisible when family isn't present or never was. Let's be honest. Not every family is close. Not every adult child calls. Not every sibling cares. And even in loving families, distance, generational misunderstandings, or mental health issues can create an emotional void. That's why today's video is so important. We're going to explore 6 core sources of support that matter more than family after 60. These are the relationships and systems that consistently show up, offering emotional strength, physical help, mental peace, and even joy. They're not bound by blood, but by something far deeper: shared purpose, compassion, and trust. Before we continue, I want to ask you something very important. Have you subscribed to this channel yet? If not, hit that red button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health and lifestyle video made just for you. If this topic resonates with you already, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, and let me know what kind of support topics you'd like me to explore next. Now, let's dive into the 6 powerful forms of support you need in your golden years. Number 1. Friendship networks. The family you choose. Imagine this. You're sitting at a coffee shop, laughing with someone who truly understands your aches, your stories, your quirks. They remember your birthday, notice when you're quiet, and call just to check in. Not out of obligation, but out of genuine care. That's the power of friendship after 60, and for many older adults, it's stronger and more reliable than family. The assumption that family will be your primary support system often fades with age. Children move, siblings age too, marriages end, and partners pass away. But friendship, when nurtured, can become the cornerstone of emotional and even physical survival. In a groundbreaking 2022 study published in the Journals of Gerontology, researchers found that older adults with strong, consistent friendships had a 22% lower risk of developing cognitive decline over 10 years, compared to those who relied primarily on family. That's not just a coincidence, it's biology. Social connection stimulates your brain, lowers stress hormones, and increases feel-good neurotransmitters like oxytocin and serotonin. But the key word here is consistent. Many older adults struggle to maintain friendships after retirement. You're no longer seeing coworkers daily. Some friends move away, others pass on, and loneliness can creep in without you even realizing it. That's why intentional friendship is vital after 60. It's no longer about convenience. It's about building connection on purpose. Start by reflecting. Who energizes you when you talk to them? Who listens without trying to fix? Who makes you feel seen, not judged? That's the kind of friendship worth preserving. Unlike family, which may carry emotional baggage or unmet expectations, friendships after 60 can be refreshingly simple. You're both choosing to be there. That mutual choice creates bonds built not on duty but on respect, trust, and shared experience. In many ways, friends become the family of your present, not the past. And they may be the ones who stand beside you through illness, grief, celebration, and everyday life far more reliably than relatives. So ask yourself today, who are the people I want to grow old with? And what small step can I take this week to deepen those ties? Because the truth is, the quality of your friendships may matter more than the quantity of your family. Number 2, faith or spiritual community. Support that doesn't disappear. When the hospital room falls silent and the visitors leave, when the phone stops ringing after a funeral, when everyday loneliness quietly returns, who is still there? For many older adults, it's the person from their prayer group who noticed their absence. It's the neighbor from church who delivers a hot meal without being asked. It's the quiet chaplain who sits beside them without needing words. This is the hidden strength of spiritual communities. They show up when others don't, and in many cases, they stay. As we age, we're faced with emotional and existential challenges that family often can't address, or won't. Spiritual or faith-based communities, on the other hand, often provide a sense of belonging that transcends biological ties. They offer the stability, shared values, and emotional support that many seniors silently crave but rarely name. Research supports this in a profound way. A 2016 study published in JAMA Internal Medicine followed more than 75,000 women over 20 years. It found that those who attended religious services regularly had a 33% lower risk of death during the study period compared to those who never attended. The difference wasn't about doctrine. It was about social connection, mental peace, and a reinforced sense of meaning. Faith communities, regardless of denomination or belief system, create weekly touchpoints that help seniors stay anchored. Whether it's a Sunday service, a Friday night meditation circle, or a Thursday prayer line, these gatherings become part of a rhythm that helps prevent isolation and apathy. And perhaps more importantly, they create a space where older adults can bring their grief, confusion, fears, or doubts without needing to pretend everything is fine. Unlike family, who may visit sporadically or hesitate to talk about deeper emotional struggles, faith groups often welcome vulnerability. They understand that aging brings loss, not just of people, but of identity, mobility, and independence. Within these groups, there is permission to speak those losses aloud, to be comforted, and to be reminded that even now, life still has purpose. Spiritual communities also act. When someone falls ill, they bring meals. When someone stops showing up, they call. When someone grieves, they sit with them. These acts may seem small, but for someone living alone at 72 or struggling after a spouse's death, they can be life-saving. And they aren't acts of duty. They are acts of shared humanity. If you don't currently belong to a spiritual or faith-based group, this is an invitation, not to adopt a belief you don't hold, but to find a space where people are practicing presence, compassion, and connection. Many such groups are now online, and many local congregations welcome newcomers of all backgrounds. Because in the end, when health fades, when routines change, and when family drifts away, what remains isn't always who you were born to. It's who chooses to stand beside you. Faith communities often make that choice, and keep making it, long after others have stopped showing up. Number 3, healthcare and wellness providers. As we move into our 60s and beyond, the body begins to change in ways we can't always control. Aches last longer, energy dips unexpectedly, medications multiply, and in the face of these challenges, having a good doctor isn't just a luxury, it's a lifeline. For many seniors, consistent, compassionate healthcare providers become one of the most dependable sources of support, more consistent than friends, and far more present than distant family. What makes this relationship so powerful is not just clinical knowledge, it's continuity. A healthcare provider who knows your history, understands your concerns, and listens to your goals becomes more than a medical figure. They become a partner in your aging journey. Unlike rushed family members or uninformed acquaintances, these professionals see the full picture: your physical symptoms, your emotional shifts, and your broader lifestyle. And when the relationship is strong, they offer reassurance when things go wrong and celebration when progress is made. Consider how often older adults leave family visits feeling unheard or dismissed, told to just take it easy, or given advice that misses the mark entirely. In contrast, a skilled physician, physical therapist, or wellness coach is trained to observe patterns, ask the right questions, and tailor solutions to your actual needs. A 2021 study from the National Institutes of Health emphasized that seniors with strong, ongoing relationships with their healthcare providers were more likely to adhere to treatment plans, report better emotional health, and experience fewer hospitalizations. But it goes beyond doctors. Your physical therapist might be the one cheering you on as you regain strength after surgery. Your dietitian may be the first person to take your fatigue seriously, identifying nutrient imbalances no one else noticed. Even your local pharmacist, who sees you regularly, might catch a dangerous drug interaction before it causes harm. These are quiet, often invisible forms of support, but they make all the difference. For those managing chronic illness, this kind of care can feel like a second home. There's relief in being able to call your provider and speak with someone who doesn't just read your chart, but remembers your last conversation. There's comfort in knowing that someone notices the details, how your gait has changed, how your mood has shifted, or how you seem more tired than usual. This kind of attention builds trust, and trust builds security. Sadly, not everyone has access to this kind of support. Long wait lists, impersonal care, and healthcare deserts are real barriers. But even within those challenges, it's worth advocating for yourself. Ask for second opinions. Seek out providers who specialize in geriatrics or senior wellness. Don't settle for care that makes you feel like a number. Because in this stage of life, your health is your foundation, and the people who help you protect it can become some of the most stabilizing forces in your life. They may not be family, but they often provide more consistent comfort, more accurate insight, and more meaningful help than even the people who've known you the longest. Number 4, peer support groups. There are some experiences that family just can't relate to, no matter how much they love you. Grieving a spouse after decades together, living with the daily uncertainty of a chronic illness, feeling invisible after retirement. These are not just emotional struggles. They are deeply human experiences that require more than sympathy. They require shared understanding. And that's exactly what peer support groups offer. Unlike traditional therapy or clinical settings, peer support groups are built on a simple but powerful idea. Healing happens in community. There is comfort in sitting with others who don't just listen to your story. They live versions of it themselves. The widow who understands what it's like to sleep beside an empty pillow. The cancer survivor who knows the silent fear between doctor's appointments. The retiree who also feels adrift after losing their sense of purpose. In these groups, you're not educating anyone, you're connecting on common ground. Research supports this deeply human truth. A study published in The Gerontologist found that older adults who participated in peer-led support groups showed marked improvement in mood, self-esteem, and even physical symptoms compared to those who dealt with life's changes alone. The benefits weren't just emotional, they were physical and cognitive too. Participants reported sleeping better, managing medications more effectively, and engaging more actively in their community. What makes these groups especially powerful is their honesty. There's no need to sugarcoat pain or pretend everything is fine. In peer support settings, vulnerability isn't seen as weakness. It's the very thing that builds trust. You can speak freely about loss, fear, confusion, or even anger without fear of judgment or condescension. And in return, you offer the same space for others. This exchange creates a sense of dignity, reminding every member that they are not broken, just human. Many people assume peer groups only exist for dramatic situations, grief, addiction, illness. But today, there are groups for nearly every transition life throws at us, moving into assisted living, managing diabetes, recovering from surgery, processing anxiety, or even navigating retirement identity shifts. And while some of these meetings are held in community centers, churches, or hospitals, many now take place virtually, making them accessible from anywhere in the world. The first step is often the hardest. Walking into a room, real or virtual, full of strangers can feel daunting. But within minutes, many discover it's not a room of strangers. It's a room of kindred spirits. People who won't rush you. People who know that some silences carry more truth than any words. People who remind you that what you're going through isn't abnormal, shameful, or hopeless. When family is absent, overwhelmed, or emotionally unavailable, peer support groups can fill the gap with something just as meaningful: solidarity. In those spaces, you're not the patient, the widow, or the aging parent. You're simply a person, worthy of being heard, seen, and supported by others walking a similar road. Number 5. Neighbors and community networks. Help that's just a few steps away. It's easy to overlook the people living right next door. But as we age, neighbors and local community networks can quietly become some of the most valuable sources of support we have, often more present and dependable than distant relatives. For many older adults, especially those living alone, it's the neighbor who notices when the blinds haven't gone up. It's the familiar face from down the street who offers to carry groceries or shovel a driveway after snowfall. These everyday gestures may seem small, but they are deeply significant. They represent a kind of watchful care, a safety net woven through routine and proximity. Unlike families who may live in another city or state, neighbors are physically close. They're the ones who can respond in real time when something goes wrong. A fall, a health scare, a missed delivery. These are moments when having someone nearby can change everything, and the comfort of knowing someone's close by just in case can reduce anxiety and restore a sense of safety that many seniors quietly long for. But the relationship goes both ways. Being part of a neighborhood or local community isn't just about receiving help, it's also about giving. Older adults who stay engaged in their local areas, whether by attending events, joining community centers, or simply having regular chats on the porch, often feel more connected and purposeful. That sense of belonging combats one of the biggest threats to senior well-being: social isolation. The study published by the Journal of Aging and Health found that seniors who maintained strong ties to their neighborhood community had lower rates of depression, better functional health, and higher life satisfaction compared to those who were socially disengaged. The benefits weren't dependent on wealth or location. It was about involvement and interaction. Community networks, such as local councils, senior centers, libraries, and even faith-based outreach groups, often provide programs designed specifically for older adults. These might include free transportation, group meals, fitness classes, or wellness check-ins. These services don't just offer support, they also create opportunities to meet new people and build relationships with others in similar life stages. Unfortunately, many seniors hesitate to engage with their neighbors or local groups out of fear of being a burden or seeming needy. But in reality, most people welcome the chance to help, especially when the connection feels mutual and respectful. Sometimes all it takes is a wave across the street, a short conversation, or a shared meal to begin forming a bond that can grow into a meaningful support system. In a world where digital connections are fast but often shallow, local relationships remain uniquely grounding. When the lights go out, when your phone battery dies, or when you're too tired to drive, these are the people who can knock on your door, offer a ride, or simply sit with you. Family may care deeply, but neighbors and community members are often the ones who act immediately. They are, quite literally, the helping hand next door. Number 6. Your own inner resilience. The strongest support comes from within. There comes a moment in life, often after the loss of a spouse, a health crisis, or a quiet birthday with no calls, when you realize no one is coming to save you. And while that realization can feel heavy, it also reveals something extraordinary. You are still here, still standing, still capable of adapting, healing, and finding joy. That quiet strength is called resilience, and for many people after 60, it becomes the most reliable support of all. Unlike external relationships, which may shift, fade, or disappoint, your inner resilience is something no one can take from you. It's the part of you that has endured grief, survived decades of uncertainty, weathered heartbreak, and continued to rise every morning to face the world. It might not be loud, it might not always feel confident, but it's real, and it grows stronger every time you choose to keep going. Resilience isn't just a personality trait. It's a skill, a muscle that can be strengthened through small daily practices. It begins with self-awareness, recognizing your emotions without letting them drown you. It deepens through self-compassion, replacing harsh self-criticism with gentleness and understanding. And it's sustained through routine and purpose, waking up with a reason to move, to care, to create, or to connect. This kind of inner support is especially important when other systems fail. Maybe your children don't call. Maybe your health is declining. Maybe the world feels unrecognizable from the one you grew up in. In those moments, your resilience is what whispers, "You can still shape this chapter of your life." It reminds you that aging is not a slow unraveling, it's a continuation of becoming. And the science agrees. A study from the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry found that older adults with higher levels of psychological resilience reported significantly better health outcomes, including fewer hospital visits, lower levels of depression, and greater independence in daily living. The researchers concluded that inner resilience was often more predictive of aging well than even physical health or social status. Building resilience doesn't require dramatic change. It can begin with journaling a few minutes each morning, taking walks and noticing the world around you, meditating, praying, or simply sitting with your breath. Finding small joys, a good book, a kind conversation, a moment of laughter. Each of these helps you build a deeper relationship with yourself. And perhaps most powerfully, resilience is built when you allow yourself to be honest, to grieve the things that hurt, to name the disappointments, to say, "This is hard," without pretending. Because resilience is not pretending everything is fine, it's moving forward even when it isn't. In the end, after the noise fades and the visits stop, your greatest source of strength may come not from who stands beside you, but from the quiet voice inside that says, "You've made it through worse. You'll make it through this too." You are not powerless. You are not forgotten. You are not done. Your resilience is proof of that. You are not alone. You are surrounded by possibility. If you've reached this point, you've likely felt the sting of unmet expectations. Maybe you always believed your children would be there more. Maybe you assumed your siblings would check in. Maybe you thought family would rally around you when things got hard. But instead, you were met with silence. That silence can be heartbreaking, but it doesn't have to define you. Because, as we've seen, there is life beyond family. There is care, connection, and purpose waiting for you in places you might never have considered. Friendships that aren't rooted in history but in the present moment. Faith communities that offer unconditional presence. Healthcare providers who see you as more than a number. Peer groups that offer solidarity without judgment. Neighbors who quietly show up when you least expect it. And, most of all, a strength within you that has never left, even if you've forgotten how strong it truly is. The truth is, aging is not a collapse. It's a recalibration. And support doesn't always come in the form we expect. Sometimes, the people who love us best aren't related by blood. Sometimes, healing happens in community centers, waiting rooms, or quiet walks with a new friend. Sometimes, the greatest comfort comes not from what others say, but from what you come to believe about yourself. So if you've been feeling alone, take heart. The support you need may already be within reach. You may just need to step out, speak up, or take the first brave action. Say yes to a group meeting. Ask that neighbor how their day is going. Schedule the doctor's visit you've been putting off. Return to that church service. Pick up the phone and reconnect with an old friend. These aren't small acts, they're powerful shifts. Each one is a step toward building a life that isn't just bearable, but beautiful. And no, this isn't about pretending that family doesn't matter. It's about releasing the idea that your well-being must rise and fall on their involvement. Because you deserve more than waiting on a call. You deserve a community that calls you, that meets you where you are, and that reminds you your story still matters. Aging well doesn't mean avoiding pain. It means learning where to place your hope. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to place that hope in something and someone new. Now it's your turn. What support system has made the biggest difference in your life after 60? Was it a friend? A doctor? A spiritual group? Share your story in the comments. We read every one, and you never know who your experience might encourage. If this video gave you something to think about, something to act on, or simply reminded you that you're not alone, please like it, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and don't forget to subscribe. More content is coming, just for you. Thanks for watching.